I'm picking up an energy that something that you do other people consider as like uh I want to call it, the word I keep hearing is a song that's been stuck in my head. And there's a song literally just called Dirty Work, and it's like talking about how when you really want something, you're willing to do like all of the work and even the dirty work for it. And some people are looking at what you're doing as this sort of dirty work, and that's why they probably justify it as, oh well, I'm not going to do that because, oh, it's dirty, it's I'm hearing not worth my time. And this to you doesn't, I feel like, make sense because this is all that you have discovered about the work. The devil energy. This is, ooh, the duality of this card right now. The energy. Okay. So the duality of the devil here is some people are looking at the devil being like, oh, well, I'm not going to do the dirty work because that's negative energy of the devil card, which is never really the devil, but the fact that we're using the light tarot deck here because we're bringing back the light and shadow from the last video. I think it's going to be like the standard tarot deck I use and just using light and shadow because like I said before in the video before this deck wants to speak. Like it it was kind of waiting for its right time, but right now it's very ready to speak. And for the devil card here, the duality of it is some people consider the dirty work to be the devil like energy, but that is the thing that's keeping them in attached to these negative energies that don't serve them. You're breaking free from that and saying, no, the dirty work is the work you do after you break free of these chains, break free of these things that hold you down, that tie you up, that keep you limited. It's like something that keeps you limited in your options, limited in your resources, like just limited in general. And I feel like now you're discovering, like, oh yeah, the real work comes in when I start doing, it's like when I start doing the healing, when I start doing the work, there's very like specific energy towards that. So I can't really say exactly what, but it's like right when you realize this healing, right when you see how intertwined people are with, oh, well, that work isn't worth doing. But if people ask you how you got to where you were, how you got to be as healed as you are, as successful as you are in your healing or in your journey, whatever it may be in your life, there's this answer that you can't help but have because you have people that will say, oh, well, that work's not worth it. And you're like, well, that's the work that brought me to the success that I have now. And it's not like you're rich in like financial wealth, but you're rich in life. And some people tend to ignore the sacrifices that are made to be rich in life, to not always live more than your means, or constantly search for things that you want versus what you need. And I think there's this very adulty mindset you have. It's a very matured mindset because the devil card is out here kind of like respecting that, like, yeah, you got it. You solved the devil puzzle here, the puzzle of toxic patterns and limitations and all of this stuff that has tied you down to a belief of like, oh well, some people just do the healing and or just they don't do the dirty work and they just are successful and stuff like that. But at the same time, what I feel like is being failed to recognize, and something that you have to remember, is the fact that these people did not get there the way that you want to actually get there. And I think that is through a key level of authenticity. And I am filming this during July 10th, 2025. So, um, and I am in America, so there's tons of authenticity happening right now. Funny, funny, haha joke for anyone who knows who knows. Cough, cough, orange man. Um, I think the real like understanding you're having here with the devil card is like to get to where you may feel like other people um like there's other people that have success, obviously, but how they got there is always going to be different, even if um, you believe someone did everything right versus everything wrong. Like, no matter whether someone was right or wrong in their journey, you understand that yours is now like no other. And I'm getting that this is like a core energy to you, that like your story is unlike any other person's story here, for how you're gaining your success, how you're growing, how you're seeing yourself better, um, being healthier, being more like not just mature in general, but there's like an intellectual maturity that has happened here, that people are like, oh, I can't get through to the collective because it's like they know that they're not on your same level, so like they would have to have you dumb something down to their level for them to be able to like get on your level per se. But it's in an intellectual sense, like you have this really like grandiose idea about how you want to do things, and I think that was the key part that kept you moving. You understood that doing the dirty work of something is key, is the thing that is going to gain you the most success and the most richness of life, you know, not just with money. Because that's something you really strive for. You're really striving to be successful, but not just with how you gain success in like material things. Like you want to be successful in like how you grow the intangible things, like how you grow love and seed love in your relationships, how you receive and give love. And it's like all of that in between, because it's also the thing, that dynamic, or that energy that builds family dynamics, whether it's like actual family or chosen family. There's like this energy of the dynamic of family is very important to you, and I think that is because you understand family can be people you find in a community, and when you find a community of people that treat themselves and treat everyone kind of like family, and really don't like, they're not weird or dismissive of outsiders or something like that, they're like very welcoming to like-minded individuals, of like, hey, you're interested in this thing, yeah, come hang out with us, we're talking about it, we're talking about all the things about it, A to Z, all that we could ever talk about. This like, not even like a special interest, just like something you're kind of into, and you're like, oh hey, yeah, that's actually like thank you for like inviting me, is what this feels like. And it's not like you like want to be like the leader of a group like that. You want to explore how you can either not only create this energy of community and create this energy of family, but I think what part of you is looking for is like, do I need to create it myself or do I need to find it? And the answer is no. I'm getting a real strong like, it's not necessarily neither, but it's not both at the same time. Because part of this is that's not really the point. Part of what I'm hearing is the point is to, I'm hearing be grateful with how you're moving on with the sense of self and the sense of the dynamic that you want in your relationships. But that sense of self that hits you so to the core that you're like, I am like no other person, and that doesn't make me better than anyone, but it makes you feel confident in who you are. It grounds you in yourself, grounds you in your own power. And I'm hearing someone needs to start getting into more of their spell crafting in more ways than just one, you know. You're still welcome to do the simple spell jars, burn a candle, but there's almost like a tiny, small ritual that kind of needs to happen. Two of Cups. And I don't know if we can go back. I like showed the bottom of the deck earlier. And I feel like this card was on the bottom of the deck. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Two of Cups talks about integrating two sides of the self. And I feel like you've been integrating a lot of the shadow and the light, which is probably why this reading came across on your for you or recommended. So think clearly about how you desire to integrate into yourself. Think so consciously and clearly, because that is the thing that truly breaks you free from this devil energy, is what I'm hearing. The fact that we started with this card, like, this whole conversation is going to be about the things that are leading you out of this devil like energy, out of the devil cave that is usually represented as the devil card, and it's like a cave. And one thing about caves is that they can cause a lot of disorienting like brain functions, and things that are being kept in the dark will probably come to light, but also feeling like you have control over what has come to light, because you have control over yourself, me, myself, and I, and it's like you have control over your own body, and I feel like no one can even tell you what to do, kind of a thing. And I feel like the devil here is almost like smiling as you walk out the door in a sign of like respect, like you figured it out. Now, like, go on, like, go on and finish this journey, complete this journey. Um, you have completed something that has left you not necessarily like fragmented and broken, but it's left you feeling like you've stuck all of these fragmented parts together and truly integrated them back together into your soul and said, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be. The High Priestess. Someone who not only has the lock and key to unknowns, maybe even not necessarily secrets, but I feel like you are the person that is the secret keeper. Like, you are asked to, like, hey, like, it's not even a secret, like, I just don't want to tell anyone else, but I need to get this off my chest and need to get this off my mind. Like, you are the person people go to for that, because they see the not necessarily lack of judgment, there is a lack of dishonesty. They see the clear truth when they talk to you, when they look at you, when they explore all of the different journeys that you've been on. There's a clear understanding of, like, they can keep secrets with you and you're not going to judge them, and you're going to tell them how it is, and you're going to be honest and say, well, I don't know what you should do, because that's up to that person at the end of the day. You can give all of these little bits of advice, give them all of these little synchronicities, per se, calling them out. But the key about that High Priestess is she doesn't really hold all of the answers. She is the mystery card. And I think this is that thing that is kind of playing out in your relationships. Like, you see the key that unlocks the door, but when people say, well, what do I do after I step through this doorway? And you say, that's up to you. You can't really tell anyone what to do, because in that sense it feels like part of you feels like you're forcing their hand. And I'm hearing you're not, if you're just giving options. I feel like there's an energy of, like, you're not going to push anyone into a direction if you're just like, you could go here, or you could go there, or you could do this, being able to be very clear about how you feel towards this person moving forward in this new doorway that you help them unlock. It's almost like you are being guided to guide people. Knight of Cups. You are being guided to show how being fulfilled with me, myself, and I is the most worth it venture in the soul ever. And I think that's the thing people are trying to ask you advice on, is like, how did you get there? How did you get it? And I think what part of you is understanding as the dirty work is the hard truth of, like, it wasn't pretty. Like, getting to this point of understanding, it wasn't supposed to be sunshine and rainbows. It never was going to be sunshine and rainbows. It was always going to lead to you having to go through what has held you back, or what is holding you back, kind of a thing. The things that we see in the sense of, like, not necessarily like super bad habits, but these little bad habits that change our behavior, that one friend that we probably really shouldn't be hanging out with, kind of a thing, or talking to, limits our schedule, limits our time, limits our emotional energy. And I think you're removing every single bit of that and part of you has to not care how these people feel, regardless of how much you love them. You must tell them, if you would like to know how I did this, you're going to have to ask me, is what you're saying to these people. You're going to have to ask me, and you're going to have to accept everything that I have to say. Because essentially, what people are asking you is, what was your experience? And not how did you do it, like you hit a magic button and everything was fine, or you pulled a magic tarot card and oh my god, epiphany. Like, no. Um, these epiphanies, these uh, like enlightenments and awakenings and realizations happen so like complexly, or there's a complexity to how these things happen and how we see these synchronicities in our life. And I think you're really integrating that with your soul. You're really like accepting a lot of your spiritual path and spiritual life that you live day to day. Like, you are someone who, you see the signs and synchronicities almost in everything, and how a little thing here and a little thing there is like giving you a small sense of maybe the day, maybe how someone's feeling. And it doesn't have to be like, I know everything about all the secrets to the universe. It's just, oh yeah, I know now how that person is feeling for the day, or I can pick up on how certain people are feeling due to, I feel like, your very mysteriously intuitive nature. And I think we have a little more for the light tarot deck here, because I feel like there's got to be a lot. There's got to be a lot more here to the story. Which I think the Fool card sometimes is the reminder for people who aren't actually committed to moving forward in this mentality. The Fool card is your sign that you've been right all along. You've been in, like, going along the right path all along. And while I feel like you have energies that are like trying to save you from falling off this cliff, what they don't see is that the cliff isn't a cliff at all. It's the mouth of the cave of the devil. You are leaving this energy. People are trying to like reel you back in, like, no, 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 that's not good, that's not good. But you're saying like, no, I did the dirty work of the devil. Like, I did the work to remove the chains that bind, and the devil even shook my fucking hand on the door, on like the way out the door. And it's something that you see all of these experiences in life, not just in a very respectful manner, but you respect the greater energies that are at play in your life. And that's where the devil is going to sit here and somewhat respect you, because you kind of cracked the code, you solved the puzzle, you figured it out, and now you can go forward in a very, very free, like, I feel like you are physically free from a lot. And I can't explain like how free, but it literally feels like you can go and walk outside and feel like energetical wings on your back, like you are free, like you're opening up more to the whole entire world and the physical world. And I feel like nature is going to be very, very helpful in just transmuting a lot of extra excess energy that you are still holding on to, because I think all of us feel like, yeah, you know, we integrated, we figured it out, yeah, but you're that high priestess. You know there's more to this story than ever before. You may not understand quite yet, but that's where the devil respects you. The devil respects you now because you're able to face fear through the unknown. Through, is that fear, or is that this, or is that that? The complete unknown does not like even, it's not even like a thought in your mind. You're understanding that every day is an unknown. Every new day that we wake up, new dawn that rises, we are waking up to a complete unknown new day. And that's the acceptance of life. And that's where it's like, yeah, the devil's like, you got it. And now like the devil is like this weird energy of like shaking your hand, because like it knows, and this energy knows, it can't tie you down anymore. It's shaking your hand because it's almost like a part of spirit being like, hey, like, be grateful for yourself for realizing this. And also there's almost a bit of gratitude from some spirit guides and angels being like, Like, thank you for understanding all of the, not necessarily like crap that they put you through. Um, because I feel like, it wasn't them putting you through crap. It was them trying to wake you up to get yourself moving in your own life, in your own direction, by your own word, is also what I'm hearing. One thing I heard with the that thou shall have no fear kind of energy here, there is a very, very uh like synchronistic piece of media, and I'm going to talk about something that probably people only know the name of. If you know anything about tabletop like games and almost games like D&D kind of, this isn't a D&D like game, but if you know the game Warhammer, it is a tabletop game that also has some video games and a lot of other pieces of media. And another piece of media that they made for Warhammer was in a Secret Levels episode. There is a show, I believe, on Amazon Prime called Secret Levels or Secret Level, and these are animated adaptations of video games that we all know and love. They have Pac-Man, they have Mega Man, they have even Sifu, which is like a very interesting fighting game that is also very, very hard. I even think they even do Dungeons and Dragons. I kind of forgot about that. Like, I think one of the first episodes is Dungeons and Dragons. It's either around the third or fourth episode that is the Warhammer adaptation. And during this whole entire show, or this like episode of the show for Warhammer, we follow a man called Titus. Now, if you know this story, I don't need to tell you twice about it, but at the same time, I'm going to explain it for anyone who doesn't know, because this is a tarot channel and I'm a big nerd, so I know a lot of people aren't really into all of the nerdy stuff, but if you are, hey, hi, welcome. Definitely tons of video game references here. Definitely tons of SpongeBob references here. Ooh, getting very much like, keep staring at the sun in the Fool card. Keep a note on that. Keep a note on the sun. The sun will guide you, I'm hearing. The light will guide you. If you don't know where to go, you got to follow that light, and that light may be the light of your soul. Two of Cups integration. So, the character Titus that we follow is a space marine. If you don't know about Warhammer, it's basically you'll hear Warhammer 30K, Warhammer 40K. The number associated with it is how many years into the future of like humanity and space time travel and all this different stuff. It is 40,000 years into the future with Warhammer 40K. And during a lot of the storytelling, a lot of the gameplay is surrounded by all of these different factions that are essentially armies as well. The main army and basically the main characters of all of Warhammer are Space Marines, and specifically Ultramarines, Space Marines. They are basically like the last fighting like soldiers for humanity, but they are like very much cybernetically augmented soldiers. That's why you see them in the big like chunky armor. They like are hardwired to that through cybernetics and stuff like that. So, quick synopsis of Titus. He is a space marine, and he actually like gets accused of being tainted by chaos, because essentially the things that they're fighting are just, whether it's like demons, aliens, anything that isn't basically on the Ultramarine side of things and aligned with their beliefs. It gets very, very religious on the Ultramarines and Space Marine side. It's either a heretic or it's chaos. And that's the thing that they believe in the lore, that Titus got tainted by chaos, that he is not for the Ultramarines. He is not fighting for humanity. He is tainted by chaos, is what people have rumored with him, because he has no fear. He was able to step into things, hold back this power of chaos that people said no Ultramarine, no Space Marine ever that fights for humanity is going to actually be able to handle that. And I'm hearing you were able to handle this. You were able to handle this chaos, handle that dirty, gritty work, and come out of it. And come out of it still yourself, which is what Titus does. He's just still on the mission to fight for humanity. When you become a space marine, and specifically an ultramarine, your oath that you sign is literally to um, fight for the emperor of mankind, fight for mankind and protect mankind and destroy any sort of chaos heretical thing ever. It's like a very devoted role. And Titus is so devoted to his role that he's willing to do anything and everything that they tell him to do, that they give orders for him to do, in order to keep the colors of the ultramarine armor, because that is something, when you get into the lore of Warhammer, that is something super sacred to space marines. Like, their armor is their faith, is their belief. Their gun is like the cross in their hand. It is very religious and it's very devoted, and so is Titus. And in the show, there is a narrator that's talking about how he chose Titus as a child. These are actual human beings that grow up and go through very rigorous training, and if they make it out the other end, they get to basically go into surgery to get all the cybernetics to be a space marine. And it literally shows a young Titus looking up at a space marine saying, "Get out of my way, old man," because this kid had just been shown in the show, we are shown that he just basically took down something with a really, really big sword. It's very funny in the show because, to put the sword that he's holding into perspective, it's not a sword at all. It's technically a combat knife to a space marine. Because if you look up a space marine compared to a normal human being, a space marine's 8 feet tall. A space marine is 8 feet tall. That's basically puts it in perspective. So an 8-foot tall marine needs a combat knife that is basically the size of this like 12-year-old boy. And this narrator says, "I chose a child who has no fear. What could a soul like that accomplish?" I believe that's the line that is said. And that's the key here. Like, you have no fear. You had always had no fear. And when you had fear, that was when I feel like you were just trying to protect yourself. And I'm hearing that "I chose a child with no fear," this is like not necessarily like saying that you are chosen. If you believe that, I'm just gonna go, trust in what you believe, trust in what's resonating. The real message I'm getting isn't really the fact of being chosen. It's the fact that these guides, these angels, these ancestors, specifically ancestors, I'm hearing, especially angels, angels of an ancestor, like a past loved one who you're like, they were an angel, they are guiding you. They like chose this mission to guide you because of how much, it's not only like how much they love you, how much they like have faith in you, how much power you have when you have no fear and you have all that faith in yourself is so beyond what you could imagine somebody to accomplish. And I feel like going and watching the Secret Levels episode of Warhammer and watching the like duality of what is said by the narrator in the beginning of the episode and at the end of the episode, because it says the same thing of "I chose a child who had no fear." And I think it is what the next line, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the next line says, "What could a soul like that achieve, or what could a soul like that accomplish?" And it's almost like seeing how devoted you are to face this thing called fear, because I think you're so devoted, because when you found the light, when you understood all of this, like, here, hold on, I gotta put all of this down because I gotta show you all the cards here. When you understood every bit of how fear keeps you locked down, when you discovered this, it allowed you to see how people can be so stuck and so trapped by, it feels like, not only um, their own mentalities, their own patterns, their own behaviors, you see it on a broader scale than I think people actually understand. And I'm going to say, yes, this is beyond just a job. This is beyond just, oh, I work for this one little company. Like, this is worldwide kind of energy of how certain things are done by certain people in places of power that definitely keep people in a very scared, vulnerable mind state or mindset. And I feel like you've cracked the code on how to not be fearful of these energies, because the one thing you know that they can't hold on to is the passion you have for yourself in your life. The passion you have for life itself, and just being able to see the fucking sun is what makes you feel rich in life. And I believe that this is the key thing that's allowing you to push yourself forward into not necessarily a new light, but like a new way of like exploring, explaining even, and believing in this new light. I feel like I could take some of those cards, but I want to at least. We have Page of Wands, and I think this is where you do feel a little like, well, I'm not sure about this. How do I go about this? And I think you just gotta start from square one. If you gotta go back to the book of something, like go back to the book and just start from there and just see what happens. See what feels like is calling to you in the ways of your action and passionate action that you want to take in your life. I think you want to move in a very passionate way, and it's like when you have the energy, I'm hearing that spirit saying move. When you have the energy, spirit says move. And I think you feel that, and anytime that you're like holding that back, I think you have a really boring day. I don't know how to explain that, but it's like action keeps your curiosity alive. King of Swords. But you're not one to just go forward without a plan. I feel like you're being very direct with how you want to do things. 9 of Wands. Or no, sorry, 10 of Wands. We have 3 swords and 10 of Wands. But I'm hearing also how direct you can be is also someone who constantly is stuck on the idea of something and not actually committing to the action. I feel like the King of Swords in a very like a reversed kind of energy, because all of these cards are upright in the deck, so I can just pick up on reverse energy regardless of the orientation, but that's me. Just to clarify, you get scared of getting stuck in this mindset of like, oh, I have all these ideas of how to heal, but how do I actually move forward? And I think that's the thing of like, maybe you are the friend that people go, not necessarily the friend that people go to, but like the friend that went to you and asked, hey, I unlocked this door, what do I do when I step through? And you tell that person, well, that's up to you to decide. You're telling yourself that in a weird like duality aspect here. I feel like there's like a wave of, not necessarily a wave of emotion when you feel like you're stepping into the unknown, but it's almost like, all right, I'm gonna have to get used to this feeling, used to this like this energy of going into the unknown. Knight of Wands. Sorry, I wanted to put it down, and then I was like, what's on the bottom of the deck? Knight of Wands, that maturity of your actions and ideas, because we go from the page to the knight, and it wasn't through holding back on your ideas. It was putting your sword in the ground, marking your territory, I'm hearing, and moving through these different aspects of life. Like, you moved through them. You moved through all of the aspects of the devil, the dirty work. And the song that I was referencing as Dirty Work is a like K-pop song, and it's just so catchy. But it's like something I couldn't stop hearing when I was really trying to um, channel this message here. So we are going to move on to the Shadow Tarot deck here, because there's always something underneath the shadows of the unknown, and I'm just curious of what else there could be. What else is in the shadows? What else can't our collective see? Seven of Pentacles. The work you're doing is literally almost ready to harvest, but it's always this energy of not yet, not yet, I'll tell you when. When you feel like you're ready to harvest something, you go and take that harvest. If it's not ready, or maybe only like 3 out of 10 things are ready, you're harvesting that. You're keeping the 7 on the tree to grow, because that is going to allow these things to fully mature. There's something about something needs to fully ripen here. I think it is your passionate direction too, and what keeps you passionate. Not just how like passionate you are with your new idea, your new Ace of Wands here. You're passionate about saying this is gonna go, and the rest is gonna stay because it's not ready to be like served yet. It's not ready to be put out yet. I feel like what you are working on only put out a little bit, and I feel like some of you are almost saying a little bit of what you're doing, and only people super super close to you know exactly what you're doing. But even people like directly right next to you probably are still wondering, oh, they're doing all these different things, I wonder what they're doing now. Like, you're keeping people questioning because you have a lot that you're still giving out. It feels like these 3 serpents, or 3 pentacles, because it's the 7 of Pentacles. I'm like getting the sense that you need 3 more to get to 10. Maybe you planted 10. Where'd that come from? It's not like you need 3 to get to 10, but you planted 10, and you harvested 3 of these things, metaphorically, and it allowed you to move forward in this passionate direction with this Ace of Wands, this new passionate direction, like a new mindset, a new action, a new mindset you're taking on these actions that changes like not only the perspective of how you do something, but the idea that it can actually be something, and things can come to fruition off of this idea. You're waiting for those 7 pentacles to grow, and it's almost like the 3 pentacles that you harvested off the tree, people are looking at like, oh my god, that is like amazing that they were able to do that. And I think you're sitting here getting down on yourself, that you're like, well, I didn't really do that much, and it's only 3 out of the 10 that I have. And I feel like that's kind of the point here. Like, you're supposed to really not see how good you are until like after the fact. I feel like that's something that you get caught up in, and I feel like spirit is like guiding you to not be so caught up in how you are going to be successful, because I feel like you understand you have a lot of good ideas, but you're just kind of letting them simmer, letting them brew. And also even sitting here being like, well, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this, but I have a really good idea once this actually comes up. And I think you have a really good idea of a foundation. And if something isn't like ready to come to fruition yet, or hasn't come to fruition yet, it's like you're not going to focus and struggle on the details. You're just going to constantly say to yourself, yes, I have these ideas, and I will commit to them at some point when the time is right. And I think that's the big key, the big message to understand how you're seeing this sort of harvest season in a brand new light. But this doesn't go without its pests and insects that come in and try to kill that 7 of Pentacles plant here. We have Queen of Pentacles here. I feel like there's an idea of the actions you're doing to commit to opportunity. Someone's doing it in the same way, but they're doing it in a way that's negative towards you. I think that there's a lot of negative like rhetoric that's being said about a lot of different people around the world. And while that is part of it, it's like you understand what can be said about you. But that's the thing that is really key here, because it's like there's this pest, this insect, this negative energy that's just like trying to get at you, and you're kind of sitting here like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm not like this person. I'm glad I'm not like this energy. Because that must be a really miserable life to live, to constantly focus on the downfall of somebody else and make it like your everyday thought. That is a very, very like hard way to sleep at night, you know? Um, and with basic human psychology, the more that our brains are overactive on a certain thought, mindset, person, place, or thing, it can fuck with our sleep. It can fuck with how we want to do things. And you, as the Queen of Pentacles here, in the light of you being the Queen of Pentacles, you are very much planting your opportunities. Like, and I feel like you've planted them, and that's where the Seven of Pentacles comes from, is like you planted these opportunities to literally be what they are today. You set yourself out on a journey of like, okay, well, if I'm breaking free from these devil energies, if this isn't going to be my issue anymore and I can move on freely, and I feel like there is someone of maturity that gave you clear confirmation on something here. King of Swords and the Page of Wands is like, the Page of Wands is you talking to this King of Swords energy, because I feel like you as the Page of Wands just didn't have all of the knowledge of something, and this King of Swords gives you this knowledge and is very direct, and so direct in a way that like you needed that kind of like spark of the sword hitting on the ground kind of a thing, that gives you that little fire, that torch to carry on in the Knight of Wands. And that's where it feels very freeing. But I think someone's trying to almost like ruin the seeds that you're planting, but how can you ruin the seeds if they're already growing into a plant? And I feel like this is where they're trying to like poison the water. Like there's like a toxic plant almost that I feel like they're trying to even make it like a toxic plant. I'm not sure. It's something about a toxic plant, like toxic and poisonous like herbs and like plants and stuff. And I think that there is like an act to try and like poison the watering hole of your like everyday thing that you are feeding your plants. But I think this is where it's kind of like hard to see how this is going to be successful, because I feel like there's an energy of like this person's only doing it when they have energy to, and they should be spending that energy elsewhere, and spending that energy constantly on you is constantly leaving them burnt out. And you understand early on that the Queen of Pentacles can easily get burnt out if we're constantly waiting for our plants to grow. If we're constantly looking at the plants, waiting for them to sprout out of the ground, like, it's not gonna happen in a timely manner. It's gonna feel like it's happening a lot longer than expected. And through, I feel like, all of this negativity and negative energy that you have been feeling from people, you have been transmuting like a fucking goddess, god, whatever. 10 of Pentacles, really on the top of the card after Temperance. Oh boy. You have been literally boiling snakes as a form of transmutation. And through this boiling of snakes, boiling of lies, burning off deceit and trickery and manipulation, there is an energy that is like you're creating abundance off of what you're burning away. Like you're doing, I want to say, a magical, like, working without even understanding the working that you did. It's almost like you didn't even need to like burn a candle, do a spell jar to like do this magic, if that makes sense. Like you did it in your head, and it's almost something of like sci-fi or of like supernatural like shows and movies that you'll see like someone like flick their head and like a door shuts or something, like telekinesis. But I feel like you've been doing this sort of telekinetic energy, like, I want to say purifying, like you've just been purifying your own energy in order to get these snakes out of your system, to get these lies, these deceits, this manipulation that the devil had on you. It's like you're still dirty, you're still like feeling a bit roughed up from the devil, so you've been cleaning yourself of this, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. I think it's all of the above right now. And the Ten of Pentacles is you, like, you're doing this, and what you're consciously doing that I think is also subconscious about you is you're saying to yourself, I am clearing this way so my success can come in. And I think that is a, like, an incantation that you're having. Like, it is a spell work that you're doing when you say that. Like, you are speaking this into existence, and because you're saying, I'm making room for my success, your success will come. We go from the 7 pentacles to the 10 pentacles here. You now have, you just took 3 pentacles off the 10 pentacles tree, right? And then it grew 3 more, and now you're back at 10 pentacles. So technically, you have a little extra than you were supposed to, or had planned to. Not supposed to in, like, a bad way, but, like, it's almost like you had a little bit extra success that this other Queen of Pentacles, which the pentacles are called serpents in this deck. We have Queen of Serpents. The Queen of Serpents is like, oh, well, you're not supposed to have that. You're not supposed to have this. And it's like someone is, like, calling you out and saying you're living beyond your means, or, like, it's like this energy of, like, someone's calling you spoiled when they're the one with, like, 10 to 20 squishmallows. And that's the, like, you just can't say anything to that. That's where it's like you're looking for, like, a second, being like, what was that? Oh no, okay, I'm back doing my magic stuff. I'm back on my stuff. I'm back transmuting this energy. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for whatever is being yapped about over there, because that is the exact energy that you're purifying. You're not even focused on it because you're so focused on something else, but it's like this something else is your entire life. Like, you're transmuting. Oh, I'm seeing, like, layers and layers and layers and layers of deceit, layers of lies that have been said, and it's almost like pouring salt on them in that card. Like, whatever is that little energy surrounding the cup, it looks like that it's salt being thrown on these snakes, and these snakes weren't snakes at all. They were lying. They were slugs. So when the salt hits them, it's like that, you hear that, like, almost like hissing sound, and them turning back into the slug that they probably were always as slimy as they seem to be. Because I think sometimes when it comes to snakes, snakes are very, like, they have so many different representations and associations. Like, snakes can mean something enlightening, very enlightening, kundalini awakening, enlightening. And then snakes can sometimes be as, like, the worst omen in the whole world. And I think it's also the energy of an owl as well. An owl is a big symbol of wisdom, but sometimes an owl can be seen as an omen in certain, like, stances. The same with the raven. The raven could be seen as as an omen, or it could be seen as Odin, literally the Norse god Odin. And I think this is where that salt is, like, purifying these slugs of people, like people, and people that you weren't even going to, like, meet in the future, or wanted to meet in the future, but it's like you set yourself out on a certain path long ago. You're never gonna meet any more slug-like creatures than you are currently, it feels like. But you understand that, like, if you are clearing out this one energy, you're clearing out this energy, like, in so far in the future as well. Like, you not necessarily won't ever have to deal with a certain type of person again, but you won't ever have to deal with a certain type of, like, person and type of people again, because there is not necessarily the, oh, I choose not to. It's the energy of those people not necessarily don't exist, but they are not in your experience. Like, that is just something that it's like you don't just remove it from your experience, but it's like you say, that's not the right path, that's not my path, so I'm gonna go and move on, and good day. And if someone's going to go beyond that, step over your boundaries, you're gonna handle it. You can handle it. Ace of Pentacles, you can handle it. Also interesting, the Temperance leading into the Ten of Pentacles, leading into the Ace of Pentacles. We had the, hold on, so the Ten of Pentacles was from the top of the deck, and the Ace of Pentacles was on the bottom. Remember that, remember that. You are exploring something about your own true nature that it is almost like, I feel like you don't exist to me kind of energy. And it sounds kind of rude, but it's more of like, you don't exist to me because I could not imagine doing what you did to another person. Like, I couldn't do what you did to me to somebody else, is this energy. And there are people out there that you know in the future you will meet that are just going to be completely different people with completely different scenarios, but it's going to be that same kind of pattern. And I think you're recognizing the pattern. You recognize the pattern of dishonesty, disingenuousness, and lack of self integrity. Not just esteem or confidence, like integrity. Like, you do not even want to exist to the people who have dishonesty in them or lack of integrity. Um, and that's where they don't exist to you, because you could not imagine, almost, it's like, what was there's a word I just thought of. Not integrity. I said it, when I said integrity, there's another word and I just forgot. It was like perfect way to explain this. I keep hearing that. I could not imagine myself doing what like a certain group of people and groups of people, not just like one group. It's like, I'm talking about like a type of person that is like, you will meet worldwide. Like, no matter where you are, you will meet a slug of a person. You will meet slugs that disguise themselves as snakes, disguise themselves as the Kundalini awakening, but really they're just a slug in disguise. A sheep in a literally a sheep in wolf's clothing. Isn't it a wolf in sheep's clothing, or a sheep in wolf's clothing? What's the original phrase? Because I'm getting a sheep in wolf's clothing because they're trying to be a wolf, but really they're a sheep and they're a follower of other people. They're not like, they're not the alpha. I had to say that just to make myself laugh. They're not understanding of the pack, the loyalty you have when you are able to stand up for yourself and stand up amongst these very, very like harsh things. Like a wolf and standing up to a bear probably sounds pretty scary, but if the wolf is very skilled and has the pack with them, a little, well, even whether alone or the pack, there is still a good chance that a wolf could win. But at the same time, bears are fucking terrifying, and the only thing that a wolf has on a bear is probably like speed and running. And I don't want to think about animals fighting because that makes me sad, but the like metaphor of like, you are the wolf and maybe even people tried to act like the bear. It's like the bear was something completely different. It's almost like the bear was like something else within you that you've been exploring and understanding and coming to a collective understanding. Because the big key about the Ace of Pentacles is like, this new beginning we have, we are taking with us everything we learned in previous chapters of previous chapters, all the way back to when we were first born, and our first memory that we had when we were a kid. One of the first memories that we can remember. Taking all of this in collectively, understanding it all, committing to understanding it all, and committing to accepting it all is the key thing that pushes you. Like, it's like you pushing yourself. But you almost had to, excuse me, you almost had to battle the bear inside. You almost had to battle this bear inside yourself. Because the bear was all of the self-limiting, like, energies. Whether it was certain things that people said or did that made you feel like you had to, like, self-sabotage and limit yourself. You were discovering this bear within you that needed to be tamed, almost. It didn't need to be attacked. That's the key about the Two of Cups. You are coming together with yourself in a very honest way, integrating with yourself in a very honest way, telling the bear, hey, like, I understand we both want the same thing. We're both looking for food. And if you stick to like the river for food, then my pack can move along without bothering you. And then it's like being able to not bump heads with like your inner self, because I feel like you understand that bear, that ego, even, or even intuition, like you know what a part of you needs. Whatever you relate it to with ego and intuition, like you understand what a part of you needs. And I think this is the more animalistic side of you, which I believe I call the human part of us. We are obviously souls that are incarnated into this vessel of a human being, but what if you were in the vessel of a bear or in the vessel of a wolf? That energy and understanding that you have your own human body that is still trying to express and understand and take in all this information physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're taking that as like you have a part of you that necessarily isn't uncontrollable. It has a different way of living. A bear definitely has different tactics of hunting than a fucking wolf does, or not hunting, or just like going to the river and catching salmon. There is an energy to this of knowing that you work in very different, multifaceted ways, and you have to work with those ways. It is who you are. It is who you are. Ace of Pentacles. Understanding all the chapters, accepting all of the chapters, accepting everything that we've been through. Because what you come out on the other side is something so completely different than you've ever expected. And I'm getting, okay, we'll be dramatic. What is on the other side is the Knight of Pentacles. I think this is a symbol of do not forget what hesitates you on certain things. Sometimes the Queen of Pentacles, or King of, no, Knight of Pentacles, Jesus Lord, because I'm trying to read it on my screen and I can barely, like, it's a little, like, blurry on my screen with the text on here, so I'm a silly goose. You aren't just sitting here being lazy. Like, you're moving. Oh, that's on the other side of all of this. While these slugs and these fake ass snakes, these people who can't even like bite, and they don't even have, it's like all bark no bite. They don't even have venom in their fangs because they don't even have fangs. You're moving at a pace that's so different than other energies. And I think this is like where these energies start to kind of be lazy at the wheel, be like asleep at the wheel, literally, while you are actively like leaning forward on your horse. Like the body language of these two characters is very, very distinct. Because this Knight of Wands is like, I'm ready, I am here, I have my torch of passion, shining my light in this world, shining my light into every dark corner that people, you know, people need to have light shine into, because something about what you do is very connected to a lot of people who like don't speak up. Like, you speak about things that some people not necessarily are afraid to talk about, but like are afraid to look into because they're like, oh well, no one understands that, I'm just overthinking it. But you're sitting here like, no, you're not overthinking. You're telling people you're not overthinking it. You are that high priestess that's like, there is more to this than people understand, and you're actually picking up on it, and you're helping these people shine light in their darkness. And it's such a cool, beautiful thing to like see and to hear. And I feel like what we're gonna do is read from the book whatever card that we get. There's a card that we're gonna read. I wonder if we're gonna get the same synchronicities as last video, because in the last video we had a video, like the last two videos there's a oracle card that came up in both videos, so I was just like curious if there's any synchronicities in this one. Hello. Yeah, okay, all of these heard. Let me know. I'm not sure if we should do all of them or not, but we'll see. The one that landed in my lap is the ocean. We have the ocean. Oh, I love that. the like pupil of the eye. It almost kind of reminds me of a shell and like how a shell looks, but it almost looks like someone like put it in a kaleidoscope or like a mirror. Like they took two sides of a shell and they like mirrored it or something like that. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna hold up a single card that I got that is related to this message here. I'm hearing siren, mermaids, and just anything that has to do with a ship getting lost. It doesn't even have to be in the like physical ocean. It could be in the ocean of space. Like any space sci-fi stories that have like a lost ship at sea. Don't know who that's for. The ocean, the unconscious, the depths, the incomprehensible. The power of the ocean is unmatched. To step into its salty waters is to step into the unknown. By its sheer volume, the ocean is our understanding. We cannot live within the ocean. We cannot claim it, manage it, or own it. It rejects our every attempt to dominate its nature. Yet amid its overwhelming power, it calls to us, inspires us, and invigorates our life on land. It dissolves the little us into the big us. When the energy of the ocean is present, there is a change stirring that is beyond any change you have known before. The ego must dissolve. The saline swells work on your very cells, your fibers, your deepest underlying beliefs. Like Aphrodite, we rise from the ocean's froth, a new beginning. Life is change. Let the waves crash. Or let the wave crash, but I'm hearing waves. The ocean displays every emotion without shame. To witness its glassy moonlit surface and its unforgiving storms is to know the full spectrum of the human experience. To understand its glassy moonlit surface and its unforgiving storms, it's to know the full spectrum of the human experience. Study waves, touch their surface, get in the water. No matter where you live, each drop is a part of the whole. The ocean is in every tear. When in light, you feel deeper than deep, big dreams and discovery. When in dark, you feel subsumed, drowned, polluted, and unpredictable. I kept thinking about polluted and what I was talking about like poisoning the watering hole. I feel like someone was trying to pollute your waters and you saw it coming from a mile fucking away. And maybe the trick was to let them poison your waters, because you can't get a proper antidote if you don't understand what you're being poisoned by. And if you're willing to give your knowledge to people in the future, explain your experience, and come out with something to say about it, to educate yourself on and educate other people on, you're going to be clear about what that toxin really was, what that poison really was, because it is a poison. And I got another reference, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the like final fucking ending of it. I don't want to spoil it, but there is a conversation that is had, and I'm gonna be honest, it has to do with the whole reference of the truth within the truth kind of energy. It's kind of where I got that from. To understand the part that I'm talking about, there's a certain character that's not really a character at all. There's just this like outline of a character. And they're not really a character at all, really. And I remember thinking that they were evil, that they were bad, or that they were unforgiving. Unforgiving storms. I used to think in that show, before I really finished it and like watched the final like ending of it, that character and just depiction or personification of, I can't really spoil it, of something, I thought it was evil and it was bad. But then it talked about something very like yes, you got it. And it was like happy that someone understood something. And that was the energy I was getting with the devil. Like, the devil is the water, the devil is the ocean. It's going to be unforgiving. And it's almost like a drill sergeant trying to, like, yell at you and yell at you and yell at you and get you to yell back, to get you to fight back. And not fight back in a way that is like when an actual drill sergeant in boot camp is like trying to get people to push past their limits. They're not saying fight back in the sense of like fight back at the person that's yelling you. Fight back with your own strength against the world. Because I'm seeing like the push-ups and someone doing like one last push-up, and I feel like that is like your strength against this like polluted, toxic world. Ooh. Okay, okay. We have a couple cards here. We have the Pilgrim, the Mentor, the Mirror. Very, very key here. The Mirror. I think it was more like this. Ooh, and the Fault Line. I want to look at one part about the Pilgrim because I feel like I'm forgetting a very key thing about the Pilgrim card. I'll just read it here. Because there's something, it's like I can't find the words for it, and I know that it's in here. Like, I think they're just telling me to, like, read the card. Ooh. Sorry. You need to see all the cards, apparently. That's the key here. The pilgrim, the wanderer, the traveler, the apprentice. For the pilgrim, an outward journey is always an inward journey. This archetype wanderer seeks wisdom, experience, and meaning in the farthest reaches of the globe and deepest regions of the spirit. Others will wonder when the pilgrim will settle down and claim more conventional life, but the pilgrim knows that the heart belongs in motion. Where there is motion, there is freedom, expansion, and growth. Responsibilities, social conventions, responsibilities, social conventions, and logistics lull us to sleep, and soon the pilgrim becomes veiled in slumber of the day to day. Yet when this archetype awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure and leads us out the door towards a new reality. With the pilgrim at your side, you will never lack courage, nor do you need every amenity. Travel light, travel soon, your spirit needs it. Okay. What I'm really getting, because I don't need to read the rest of that card, is the fact that you were this energy to people. You were this, like, very free, expansive, growing person. You were constantly growing. You were constantly mentoring, probably, without realizing it. And I think there was this energy that really, not necessarily hurt you, but it's this, like, feeling of the mirror, like, cracking more of this fault line. Like, I think you were the mirror that also provided the moonlight to shine back onto, like, what is actually the mirror, you know? Like, when you see something reflecting off of a mirror, you can, like, see the mirror itself. Sometimes mirrors can be really invisible if the room is dark enough, and you don't see them until you turn the light on. And you crack, it's like, put this fault line in, like, invert the colors of the fault line, and you get a crack of light that is cracking open. This fault line is the thing that is cracking open to, I want to say, bring, like, a new dawn to a new day in something that is, like, not an illusion anymore. I think you provided some clearing of illusions to somebody. And it was, I'm getting that this is representing the Lover's card more than the actual, like, Oracle card. And I always talk about the Lover and the Lover's card in the tarot. It is the choice card. There's something about a choice that was made here. A choice to continue loving yourself. I put the deck down and the cards slid. Trust in everything you feel. Everything you feel has never been a lie, and it hasn't lied to you yet, has it? I feel like you have been very clear and honest to yourself about how you feel, but it's through something that I think you needed to explore more on your own that really set this like fault line crack into place. This new, complete new foundation of yourself that is like almost woven things. Like you have woven your past into what you do today in a way that is very almost like slightly redemption arc, but not even redemption arc. It's like, this is who I am. This is the type of person that I've become from these things, and this is you standing on that foundation saying, this is the person I'm going to be, and I strive to grow in whatever way you want to grow. I think exploring that has been really helpful for you because you've allowed it to like expand your own self, expand your own true nature past whatever you feel like kind of comes your way and falls through the cracks, you know? There's always going to be things that slip through the cracks if people are going to constantly put up those barriers and those walls. It can only hold things back for so long. Truth will always prevail in some way. And I think you are understanding of that, and you're moving forward in life understanding that you are the prevailing truth. Like, you are the walking truth that prevails all. And that is all you needed to really hear for this, is what I'm hearing. Be grateful for all of the intuition you've had. It's been really like connecting you to your proper like people, like your you could say soul tribe, soulmate, your people that you will be so connected to like a family because of everything that you're able to express and talk about with them, with all of the complicated like dualities of the fault line, of the mirror, of these very complex spiritual and intellectual topics. It doesn't even have to be spiritual. Like, I feel like you're very like going to meet people that you're going to have intellectual conversations with, and it's going to be very, very fulfilling. And I think part of that is there was a King of Swords energy that had that intellectual conversation with you at some point. Someone did this, and it cleared you of any other confusion you had about yourself, about the situation, about whatever was going on. And you need to know that that is very, very accurate, like, to everything that you have done and do with your mentality on healing, the truth that you believe in, the truth that is, you don't really know the truth. You're just discovering what is and what you can understand from certain like metaphysical associations, you know? You see like a synchronicity, a sign, and you're like, it could be this, it could be that, but you're just taking all these notes down of like what it could be, doing the math and finding the like the common denominator, basically. I was about to say least common denominator, because the least common denominator is almost like the toxin of this poison. And your mentality and how you explore things is the antidote to these things. And I don't think people like that, because people aren't going to like being exposed, called out, and referenced in the sense of like, oh, I'm not that kind of person, I'm not this, I'm not that. Like, people can't handle that there are just certain words that people are going to say and label them as. Everyone's labeling each other every single day. We label things all the time, and it's almost just like, yep, that's just another thing. That's just another thing someone said, and it has zero control over you right now. Like, absolute zero control over you right now. And I feel like some energies feel like they have control over you, but they don't understand it like you do. And that is where I'm going to leave you. So thank you for letting me read your cards. Thank you for stepping into the light and into the shadows with me, and I hope to see you in the next one.